Okay, so now first and foremost, before I get into the mechanism and all that, I want to show you how to and where to strap it. So with this dolly specifically, I usually hook it to this middle bar here. It's thin enough and it's high enough. And whenever you're lifting something heavier, you want to make sure that whenever you're strapping it to the dolly that you get it as high as possible. And even though I can only go this high on this side, on the other side, whenever I go around, if possible, I'm going to try to get it higher and to get it to come back. That way, the strap is going to act similar to an arm where it's pulling it in so that you don't have to do so. Now, it is still good to get some hands on the piece of furniture when you're dollying it, but let's go ahead and let's get that done. So I'm going to hang that there for now. Going to go ahead, and I do have another video on how I choose to store mine. It's just quick to get these things out and they're accessible. So let's go ahead, strap this in here. So I usually do this one on the bottom, the long one, so that it can hold the other one while I make my way around. So let's go ahead and go. And like I told you, I'm going to go ahead and go up as high as I can, and then I'm going to come back down. So now that I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and get you even closer. That way I can show you more. Alright, so now that I got this strap around here, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use a ratchet strap to get it on there. So now I got that. I'm going to go ahead and pull it. Now you want to make sure you make this clear distinction. This is the back. If you ever get confused, it's always easiest just to get this, pull that little lever there, and go ahead and close it. Or start closing it. That way you could kind of, and let's say it's not at a perfect angle like that, you could go ahead and you can crank it so that you could get it into the angle that is the easiest to you. Leave it closed, that way you know which angle to go in, because you want to go in the back and then come back out. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this. I'm going to kind of hold it tight. So I'm going to get the end. I'm going to go ahead and go in here, and I want to tuck it back out the top. It doesn't really matter if you come back out the top or out the bottom, but typically it's easiest and best to go out of the top. That's just what I always do. So from there, I'm going to step on the other side, and if you ever, and I can kind of show you that this is kind of getting tangled. It's because I did some stitching to this. I was going to turn this into an invention, so it's kind of harder. But you kind of do like, you get the other end, and you could kind of do this, because you want to make sure that it's going to be flat on both ends whenever you're strapping it. So you don't want that to bunch up and then turn twisted. So go ahead and do that. Now, before you start cranking, you want to make sure and pull this tight. And usually, to get it as tight as possible, I usually will get one hand and I'll kind of pull that in that direction, and I'll get this arm and I'll pull back. That's usually how I could get it the tightest possible. And then from there, I'll get two of my fingers and I'll kind of get both of them clamped in together. That way I make sure again that it stays at an angle. If you can see, I have it smooth there, and even to get it a little smoother, there you go. But yeah, then you go ahead, once you have it in tight, boom, then you could go ahead, start cranking. Now you want to be careful, depending upon how sturdy the piece of furniture is. You don't want to go too tight, but you also want it to be tight enough so that when you're going up and down the stairs, that you can that it'll stay with the dolly. So Go ahead, crank a few more times. I'm going to check everything, check the different sides of it, and then yeah, that should be good. Now I'm going to take this slack. So there's a couple things you could do with it. One thing you do is, because sometimes these things will loosen, so you kind of make like a little bunny ear right there, tuck it up under the bottom, right? Now I still have my hand here and I have the bunny ear part there. Now you want to go take that back in where your hand is. So you go ahead and pull through, and then once you got that bunny ear, go ahead and pull it tight. Now you still do have this little bit hanging. You could kind of tuck that anywhere. I usually will tie it somewhere because the last thing you want is you don't want that getting in the way of you when you're trying to move it. So I usually double, just like a shoe. I just go ahead and double knot it. And then from there, like I said, you want to get some hands on it and you want to pull it back. So I'm going to show you how to do that from a wider angle. All right, and last and not least, we got this wrapped up, we got it strapped up, and we're ready to go. Now, you know it's always tight whenever you can kind of play some music with it. All right, so from there, this is a heavy boy, so you want to use as much of your body weight to get it back as possible. Never, or at least I never do, I say never to just pull it straight from the hands unless you have someone on the other end. And even then, I still use my body weight. So there's a couple ways that you can grip it to pull it back. You can do this one. This is a common one. Me, with something like this, if I can reach the top and I could kind of get my forearms behind these corners, that's going to be real easy for me. And I'll kind of do like something like that. Or you could get it here. It really all depends on uh, the thing that you're dollying. Sometimes it could be a stack of boxes, and because of the balance, you might need to pull it from the bottom even though you got other stacks, because it's just how the weight distribution works on a dolly. But anyway, let's go ahead, pull it back and roll off. I am not going to show you how to go up and down stairs with this because it is heavier, and it's safer to do something like this with assistance from someone, and I do not have anyone with me right now. I could do it by myself, but I don't think you guys want me to break my back. One thing also to mention is that if you are lifting something this heavy with someone who's not trained, or you know, maybe could be a little reckless or too strong and don't really know how to use their strength, and they're going to be helping you, it is very dangerous for someone, commonly when dollying, and I'll kind of show you. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this back. All right, so whenever you're dollying someone, and this is the pivot point that I was kind of explaining earlier, this is the easiest that I could kind of carry or hold this thing at. So this is what I would call the pivot point. The more I lift it up, the harder it gets. The more I lower it, the harder it gets in another way. So, but anyway, so whenever you're dollying up the stairs, or even if you just have someone assisting you, essentially the dolly's doing all of the work. So you really don't want to overcomplicate or overexert yourself, especially because if you're moving, you have many things you need to move. So you want to conserve your energy. So the person they'll be lifting up there, now very dangerously, whenever dollying things up the stairs, I see it happen all the time where someone will start pulling really hard, pulling and lifting, and it'll start to come off of the dolly. If you have someone who is reckless that is helping you, you might want to get a strap really low And I have had to do that before, especially with some really heavy items, and you don't want them coming off of the dolly. But with anyone who's willing, who's actually there to work with you, this will be perfect. Awesome. So you have a great one, and I'll see you on the next move. Please take a moment and support the channel, and have a great move, a great day. And if you need any moving help, I do local moves here in Austin, Texas. I also do cross country and out of state. Go to the website at mananddolly.com. You can see everything that I've used in this video, besides the dresser, of course. All the equipment, you'll find links on the website at mananddolly.com. And the phone number to call us is 512-943-7706. And you can also give me a call if you are trying to figure out how to move something or something like that. You can definitely give me a call, because not all dressers are the same. If you have one with long legs instead of being formed, there's certain ways you want to do that. If you have a lighter, a heavier, a wider, a bigger, etc., all furniture is different and needs to be treated differently. So give me a call. I'd love to help you out. And if you have any suggestions on any other videos to make, let me know and I'll get to it. Have a good one. See you on the move.